So the first step in the process is to have a foundation in computer science. Now, this is going to be free, in case you thought you're going to spend a lot of money. So there are two options in the first step of getting a foundation in computer science. You can use Forrest Knight's open source computer science degree. It's completely free, and he's a YouTuber who also studied computer science, but he's basically compiled a degree where he uses free resources, free courses from like Harvard, MIT, Stanford to create a program which is modeled on a syllabus of a computer science degree. So you could dedicate 2 to 3 hours a day for the next 3 months and just go through his program. It's really not as daunting as it sounds. Or you could take the second route, which is the one I took, which is the Harvard CS50 course, which is basically an introduction to computer science. Now, you may have to repeat the first 1 to 3 lessons if you don't quite understand it. I didn't quite understand it, but trust me, it's not like tough calculus or tons of unrealistic mathematics. In case you're worried about that, or you thought that you have to be a math whiz in order to code, it's not that bad. Trust me. Then the second step I've put is sorry, you must pick a code and source material. So you need to pick a coding language and source material. So once you've picked a code, a lot of the source materials will sort of refer you to a certain programming language to start off with. So there's like Treehouse, Free Code Camp. I used Free Code Camp. I didn't use Treehouse. I didn't know about Treehouse at the time, but I heard an investor, Chamath. I wouldn't even try his name. He was talking about Treehouse and recommended Treehouse for coders. But I used Free Code Camp, and so it lays out which programs you can start off with, like JavaScript and Python. Those are the ones I learned first with Free Code Camp. So now you've picked your language, and you need source material. So a Free Code Camp or Treehouse are source materials, and they'll recommend certain programs for you. And people learn different. I prefer reading and practicing. So after doing the first 4 or 5 sections of the syllabus from Free Code Camp, I focused on like picking a language and reading books, PDF, free downloads of books, and then building my own portfolio. So I would pick Python, and then I download books on Python, automate the boring stuff, learn Python the hard way, learn Python in one day. Um, the third one, oh, Python crash course. And so and Python and machine learning. So I downloaded like 6 7 books, read them, started building projects off of that. So that's the route I took. Now you can take the route where you have a structured syllabus, and if you're someone who's a visual learner, you'll appreciate supplementing the course outlines offered in like Free Code Camp with free YouTube videos or other free courses online like the Harvard CS50 course. Then the third step is to build a portfolio for your projects. Like, I mean, have a portfolio from the very first project that you build, the very first code you write, and it's just a way to track your progress. And everyone has one. It's just a thing. It's so that you can track your progress, and when you're looking for entry level position, you can show them your portfolio. Then step 4, build complex projects from your ideas book. So when I first read Learn Python 3 the hard way, first thing is like have an ideas book. Even though you don't know how to code everything yet, you should have an ideas book where you write down all the ideas of the programs you want to write, the programs you want to create. So in the legal field specifically, I wanted to create intellectual property software to help new clients or business focused clients who are looking for a way to protect their intellectual property, and they want to basically have a rundown of what rights are open to them without going to see a lawyer and going through that process. Because uh, essentially what it does is it tells you, it takes users input, and then it tells you which intellectual property rights you can register your property under, right? So you don't have to know it. All you have to do is answer series of questions, and then the program will determine basically which rights are available to you, and then after that, that's when you can seek an attorney. And I also wanted to create case management software, and I also wanted to create something to help with civil procedure along those lines. And so you get the idea of what I'm talking about. And upon building these complex projects, it's also important to ask comments from other programmers. People are really nice. You can go to LinkedIn and just share with people, even if you just post it or you inbox someone and you ask them, hey, please take a look at my code, give me your feedback. It's probably going to be terrible. Your codes is probably going to be terrible, but you learn, and that's the way to go. Now, Stack Overflow and GitHub are great in terms of building your portfolio, getting portfolio ideas, learning to work with others and to fix bugs, and to just get an idea of what the community looks like, get some ideas of your own, modify those projects so you can have some projects on your portfolio. And then, but I wouldn't use those like GitHub and Stack Overflow to ask for comments from other programmers. Specifically, GitHub, if you're not that popular, you won't benefit much from it in terms of getting people's feedback. So that's why I preferred LinkedIn. Stack Overflow is good for your research and your portfolio building, and GitHub is also good for your portfolio building. And then number 5, whether you want to start your own job or your own startup, you should just polish up on your portfolio. And that's pretty much it. Roughly, I would say it would take you about 6 months to learn a specific program. So you could dedicate the first 6 months to learning Python, and then the second half of the year to learning JavaScript with HTML, CSS. So you could dedicate a year to learning 2 programs, learn one at a time, then it gets easier to learn the next programs. So if you're looking for the easiest one, I would say it's Python. After Python, learn JavaScript. HTML and CSS aren't really programs per se, but if you learn JavaScript with HTML and CSS, that's pretty much enough to give you a good foundation.